In a quiet village surrounded by rolling hills, there was a small forest that children were told never to enter. The adults said it was dangerous, that wild animals lived there, and that strange things had happened in the past. But among the children, there was another reason why they avoided the forest: a local legend about a tree that could talk. Stories said the tree wasn't just alive, it could see, hear, and even speak to people. 12-year-old Leo, however, didn't believe in such stories. He was curious, adventurous, and always looking for something exciting to do. "Trees don't talk," he told his friends one afternoon. "It's just a silly story to scare kids." "But what if it's real?" his friend Mia asked nervously. "My grandmother said she heard the tree speaking when she was a child." "Then your grandmother has a good imagination," Leo replied with a laugh. Still, part of him wondered if there could be some truth to the legend. And so, one summer morning, while everyone else was busy with chores, Leo decided to explore the forest by himself. The forest wasn't far from Leo's house, and after eating a quick breakfast, he grabbed his backpack, a water bottle, and a notebook, just in case he wanted to write something down. He walked to the edge of the woods, looked around to make sure no one saw him, and stepped inside. It was darker than he expected. The tall trees blocked much of the sunlight, leaving the forest floor cool and shaded. Birds chirped in the distance, and the air smelled of earth and leaves. Leo walked deeper into the forest, kicking through piles of fallen leaves. He was hoping to find the so-called talking tree, though he wasn't entirely sure what he was looking for. After all, a talking tree wouldn't look much different from a regular tree. Or would it? As he walked, he noticed something unusual. A single path stretched through the forest, barely visible under the leaves, as if it had been forgotten. He decided to follow it. After walking for nearly an hour, Leo reached a clearing. In the middle of the clearing stood an enormous tree. It was much larger than any tree he had ever seen, with thick roots spreading out like giant arms and leaves that were so green they almost glowed. "This must be it," Leo said to himself. He stepped closer. The tree was silent. Nothing about it seemed strange other than its unusual size. Leo touched the trunk, rough but warm under his fingers. "Maybe everyone's wrong," he thought. "It's just an old tree." As he turned to leave, he heard a voice. "Why are you here?" Leo froze. He looked around quickly, thinking someone else must be there. "Who said that?" he asked, his heart racing. "I did," the voice replied. Leo turned back to the tree. "But it couldn't be. You're talking?" Leo stammered. "Yes," said the tree calmly. "I've been talking for a very long time. You're just the first person to listen." Leo's curiosity quickly overpowered his fear. "How can you talk? Trees can't talk, it's impossible." The tree laughed softly, its leaves rustling in the breeze. "I suppose I am different from other trees. Long ago I wasn't a tree at all." Leo frowned. "What do you mean?" "I was a person, just like you," the tree explained. "I lived in this village many years ago. But through magic, or perhaps something else, I became a tree." Leo stared at the tree, his mouth open. "You were human? But why would someone turn into a tree?" The tree sighed. "It wasn't by choice. A long time ago I made mistakes. I acted selfishly, and I hurt others. As punishment, I was turned into this tree, to live still, but differently. To listen instead of speak. To grow instead of take." Leo was silent for a long time, unsure what to say. Finally, he asked, "Do you miss being human?" The tree seemed to consider this. "At first, yes, but now, I think I am at peace. I've spent so many years watching over this forest, seeing the seasons change, seeing people come and go. It's taught me that life continues, no matter what form it takes." Leo sat against one of the large roots. "But aren't you lonely?" he asked. "Not as much as you might think," the tree said. "I listen to the animals, the wind, the rain, and sometimes people like you visit." Leo thought about this for a while. "What did you do that was so bad? To become a tree as punishment, it must have been something terrible." "It wasn't one single thing," the tree said. "But I was unkind. I took more than I needed. I thought only of myself, and I forgot how to care about others. When someone finally taught me a lesson, it was too late. That's why I tell people like you, be kind. Think carefully about your choices.
What you do matters to everyone around you. Leo looked down at his feet. Sometimes I take things too, or I say things to my friends that aren't nice, but it's not a big deal. The tree gently replied, even small actions can grow into big consequences, much like a tiny seed can grow into a big tree. You're still young, Leo, but it's good to think about these things now. Leo felt a little guilty. I don't want to be unkind or selfish, he said. I want to be better. The tree rustled its leaves again, as if it approved. Then remember what we've talked about here, and don't be afraid to pay attention. When you listen carefully, you can learn a lot. Leo sat quietly for a moment before standing up to leave. Will I ever see you again? He asked. Of course, said the tree. If you ever want to talk, just come back. As Leo began to walk away, he noticed something unusual near the roots. A small sapling growing next to the talking tree. It sparkled slightly, catching the sunlight in a way that normal plants didn't. What's this? Leo asked. It's a gift, the tree replied. Take it home and plant it. Care for it like you would care for a friend. It will remind you to always be kind and thoughtful. Leo carefully pulled the sapling from the soil, carrying it in his hands. Thank you, he said. Leo returned home just before lunchtime, holding the sapling tightly in his hands. His mother laughed when she saw him. What's that you're holding? She asked. It's a tree, Leo replied. He decided to keep the talking tree a secret. After all, who would believe him? That afternoon, he planted the sapling in his backyard. He watered it every day, checking on it like it was a friend. Over time, it grew taller and stronger, its leaves shimmering in the sunlight. And although he didn't tell anyone, Leo visited the talking tree every few weeks. Each time, he listened carefully to its advice and tried his best to grow, not just as a person, but as someone who cared about others around him.